Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Transfer Express webinar, How to Price for Profit This Baseball Season. My name is Andy Curtis. I am the Learning and Development Manager here at Transfer Express, and I am happy to join you all today to talk about such a fun topic. I love this topic for two reasons. Number one, because we get a lot of questions about this time of year. Everyone's gearing up for baseball time, and people are curious how to price their baseball stuff for profit. But number two, it means that spring is around the corner. And as we are buried in snow here in Mentor, Ohio, I am glad and thrilled to think of spring as being around the corner. So I hope everybody finds themselves warm and happy wherever you are at today. And we are going to have a good webinar. If you've joined me before, then you know how this works. I'm going to join you for about 45-ish minutes here. We're going to talk about the topic of how to price for profit this baseball season. If you have any questions as we go, I encourage you to type them into the chat box off to the left-hand side there. If I happen to notice the question, I will do my best to answer it here for you on air. If I miss the question because I am too busy talking or I'm unable to answer the question, my helper behind the curtain will chime in and answer it for you. We are recording the webinar. There we go. There's my helper. We are recording the webinar as well. So the recording of this will end up on transferexpress.com. We have an education and video section that has a recording of all of the webinars, many years of webinars, actually. So if you're looking for a recording of this webinar later, we are recording it. It will be on our website. Also, you can go there to get a copy of the slides. There's a few slides that we're going to show you today that have some math equations on it and some references for pricing. And I'm sure I can already hear some of you going, ooh, I want a copy of that. The slides will be available at transferexpress.com/webinars. So definitely check out there. So far, so good. Okay, good, Valerie. This means that we haven't had any audio problems yet today, knock on wood. Okay. So that being said, we are going to chit-chat about how to price for profit this baseball season. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. So let's get started, shall we? So right here at the base, the first thing to talk about is how do you figure your selling price? How do you figure out what price to actually stick on that baseball uniform? Now, I'm going to generalize a lot of this today. I know right off the bat, before we actually even talk about the content of this slide, I just want to point out that I do know that there are a ton of different baseball leagues out there in the country, and every league has its own way of doing things. They have their own opinions and their own styles and their own way things are done. I obviously can't speak to every single league across the country, so I'm going to do a lot of generalizing today. I'm going to try to cover as many of the bases that I can. Haha, get it? Bases, baseball. I'm going to try to cover as many bases as I can. And I'm going to try to give you as many options as I can here, too. So I'm going to, yeah, I know, humor the webinar presenter with the corny joke, right? So we're going to try to talk about a little bit of everything here. So now, that being said, to figure out your selling price, the cost for each player is going to include a couple things. Now, again, I'm just generalizing, but for a league, just for example, we're going to say that includes the shirt, the cap, the printing, the name, and the number. Now, this can be different for different leagues, like I just said. If you have a league that's got some cash and it's a travel league and we're talking some older kids, that might include pants too, for all we know. It's all going to depend on exactly what league you get, how much money they have, and what they're spending it on. But the typical formula for custom apparel. So for any custom apparel, whether we're talking baseball or not baseball or sports or family reunions, the usual formula for how to cost out your custom apparel is the cost of the apparel itself. So if you're printing on the shirts, the cost of the shirt plus the cost of the transfer times 2. So cost times 2. That cost includes the transfer and the shirt that you're pressing it on, or whatever garment you're pressing it on. So cost times 2 equals selling cost. Now, here's the catch. There are some leagues out there who you will deal with who do not have the money. Leagues oftentimes have less money to spend, which means that you got to price yourself at a point where you do not get left out. So leagues cost times 1.3 instead of times 2. Now, this is just a suggestion, and again, I'm just giving you this for reference. I'm sure there's going to be some leagues across the country where you don't have to go that low, or some leagues where you do. But it's just pointing out that while the general accepted formula for coming up with your cost is shirts plus transfers times 2, when you're dealing with a league, you're oftentimes going to have to cut it down. So shirt plus transfers times 1.3. And think of it like this. If you're dealing with an entire baseball league, then you're going to have a lot of shirts in that league regardless. So yes, you're taking a hit in terms of only multiplying it by 1.3, but you're going to be doing a lot of shirts anyway. All right. If we're talking about one individual team, if you're talking about one individual group, yes, you do not have to go down to that 1.3 necessarily. But we're just putting it out there that if you're dealing with a league, oftentimes you do have to take a hit to the profit there. They don't have that kind of money. Plus, you're doing that many shirts anyway, so you don't need to charge the times 2 for the selling cost. Okay, so that's how you figure out your selling price. Now, let's talk about uniform options. Now, in terms of uniform options, this is also going to come down to who are you dealing with? Who are you dealing with? Is the league that you're talking to, do they have the cash to do nice, or are they looking for the cheapest way out of there? Now, it's going to come down to things like city recreation leagues, the local YMCA style recreation leagues, or perhaps travel leagues or professional leagues or bar leagues, any of that kind of stuff. Some of these places have more money to spend than others do. I've seen some of the local bar leagues out here in the Cleveland area. They take their baseball very seriously. They can afford to do that performance tee option where it's about $7 or $8 a performance tee. But then you see some leagues that they just don't have the cash. A lot of times the city leagues, the local city recreation department, they do not have a lot of cash to play with. So those $2 t-shirts, they look awfully tempting. If you're dealing with a travel league or a league with the older kids or semi-professional or pre-college or anything like that, you can oftentimes find leagues that do have a little bit of extra cash to throw out there. So a full button uniform between $15 and $20 is a reasonable idea. And I would encourage you, if you are going to go the route of the t-shirts or the performance tees, do check out our Transfer Express apparel line. If you have not looked at it already, go to the Transfer Express website, click the apparel button. We can get you some fantastic prices on t-shirts and those performance tees and stuff. But anyway, the point being here is when you're pricing out the cost to a league, consider who you're dealing with. Okay, consider who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with that city rec league, they probably don't have a lot of cash to throw around. If you're dealing with a group of people who take their baseball very seriously and it's sort of a pastime, but it's not real professional, anything like that, then all right, they might be able to afford the performance tees. Cost of that performance wear is definitely more palpable than it used to be. And if you're dealing with somebody who is definitely getting closer to professional or very serious or pre-college type style travel teams, that kind of thing, then you're going to want to go with that full button uniform option. All right, let's talk about printing costs here. So again, I'm generalizing leagues here, but a lot of times the situation that you have is that a league does not want to give every single team its own different front for the shirts that you're doing. A lot of leagues want the front of the shirts to be the same for every single player. Now, the color of the shirt is different, sure, but the front of the shirt remains the same. When this happens, you can do what's called a color change. So here's an example. We've got Mentor Baseball. They want this slick Gothic style text Mentor Baseball design on the front of the shirt, and then they want the letter M on the cap, the baseball hat. Because they want the same design on every shirt, they've got 10 teams. They've got 15 players per team. That's 150 total prints. We can do color changes so that some white ones will look good on some of the certain color jerseys. We could do black ink for the other color jerseys. If it really came down to it, you could almost do a different color for each team. But the catch to this is every color change costs you $15. So every time you change the color from white to black or to any other color, does cost you $15. But the good news is using that strategy where all of the teams use the same front, Ordering 150 of these, it ends up only being $1.37 per player. Now, I'm sure some of you are asking, okay, wait a minute. So if we're doing the same design on the front of every jersey, how in the world are we differentiating? Well, a lot of times these are the leagues that the kids don't necessarily get their individual name on the jersey. The back of the jersey would have the sponsor's name. Let's say Ace Hardware, for example. And we'll get there in a second. I have some of these examples coming up in the next couple slides. But so where we're going with this is, if you do have that ability where you can plan for the entire league to use the same shirt fronts, you can save a lot of cash that way. You can change the color, like in my example here, some in white, some in black, and every color change only costs you $15. That way it gets you a bunch of different colors, so you can be versatile across all those different color t-shirts or jerseys. Now here's another strategy. This is something that the customer service team here at Transfer Express jokes that by the end of baseball season, we're all really sick of seeing these script and tail designs. We see them all season, every season. But one of the other strategies here is to use a common layout with different team names. So this is kind of a higher cost version of the idea I just presented you. Now, the slide previous to this, we said use the same design for the fronts of every jersey. Well, okay, maybe you have a league where they don't like that idea. They don't want to go that direction. All right, you can put a different front on each team by using a common design like this. And here's what's beautiful about this example. These script and tails, you see, we were able to fit the Braves, the Giants, and the Tigers all on one sheet. That's that picture to the left on the slide here. Because that design is very wide, but not very tall at all, we could squeeze 3 of those script and tails on the same sheet. So yes, we were able to put a different front on every team in the league, and we were able to do it in a very cost-effective fashion. All right, so we used a very rectangular design. We did 15 sheets. That got us 45 total, basically 15 kids per team. So that was 3 teams worth, and it was only $1.24 per player. So definitely a great option here. Now, the only catch to this is that, yes, those designs are a little bit on the short side, but you can see from the picture here, it still gets the job done. So yes, they're kind of short. They're not a real big full front, takes up the whole front of the shirt type style. But the good news is baseball doesn't always go that way. These script and tail designs are classic in the baseball community. So by using this strategy, you're not going to be putting anybody off necessarily. And the other good news I'll throw out to you is we have a whole bunch of different tail options here at Transfer Express as well. If you are sick of using the same tail over and over and over again, or if you have a league that wants to do something quote unquote a little different, we have a whole bunch of different style tails out there. The tail that you see here is just the plain old tail, but we've also got tails shaped like baseball bats. We've got flaming tails. We have an American flag tail too, actually. So there's a whole bunch of different options in terms of those tails. So you can still get creative using these script and tail designs. All right, so we have these things called sponsor sheets. Now, this is what I was talking about a minute ago. Some leagues use the strategy that the front of every jersey, no matter what team you're on, the front of every jersey looks the same. And then on the back of the jersey, they put the actual sponsor for the team. So that's what we've got here. Instead of a player name on the back, we have the sponsor for the team. So on the black jerseys, that team is the King Electric team because King Electric sponsored that team. The red jerseys there for the East Bay Bank team. Then we've got East Bay Auto and the navy jerseys. We've got GG's Cleaners and the maroon jerseys, so on and so forth. You get the idea. So this is just another option. Either way, even if you're not going to do the sponsor names on the backs like I have shown here, the point is we have these things called sponsor sheets, where you're probably going to need, regardless of where it goes, you're probably going to need to put sponsor names somewhere on these jerseys. Just about every league does it somehow. Some leagues do it in different places. Like I've seen sponsor names on sleeves before. I've seen sponsor names in different places on the jersey. But regardless of how your league wants you to do the sponsors, we have sponsor sheets. where we take one sheet of paper and we cram a whole bunch of sponsors on there at whatever size text you prefer. In this case, we've got looks to be 6 sponsors on that sheet. So that means those are going to be about 2-inch tall sponsors, give or take. So we've got 15 sheets for that. Now that's 6 whole teams because there's 15 kids per team. So we get one of each sponsor per sheet, do 15 sheets. That's only 61 cents per player. All right. And again, we're keeping it simple here. These were just in plain white. You could do them plain black. Either way, they're one color, one single color. That's what keeps the cost down. And you see on the examples here, we were able to do different jersey numbers on the back as well. We'll talk about numbers in just a minute here. So if the sponsors I just showed you are not your thing, you want different kinds of sponsors, we have a whole bunch of different types of sponsor sheets. The whole point is we're just trying to make your life a little bit easier depending on how you're doing the sponsors for your particular league. The examples that I have here on my page are a couple different examples of different size sponsors, different shape sponsors, some double line sponsors. Actually, that QSP-5, the second one from the left in the bottom row here, that Compton Heights is showing you what a 2-line sponsor looks like. So what we're doing here is we're making the Compton the wider line of text, and then the Heights would be proportionate to the word Compton. And then you see QSP4 right to the right of that layout is an example where we've got some 2-line and some 1-line sponsors on the same piece of paper. So we've got a bunch of different options. It all depends on what you're looking for. This is where we totally encourage you to give us a call. Let us know what you're trying to do. And the reps can always help you figure out which sponsor sheet is best, what strategy is the best one to go with. Okay, so we're talking again about gang sheets here. Gang sheets, if you're not familiar, the concept of gang sheets is when you get multiple designs on one sheet of paper. So this is an example of a gang sheet, a 1-color and a 2-color gang sheet. So what we've done is a full-size logo for the front of the uniform. That's the Panther with the cross baseball bats and the stars, the big design at the bottom there. But then we've also used all the extra space on the paper. You see, the gray line in each of these two examples, the gray line is the edge of the sheet of paper we're printing on. So after we do that big Panthers design, and that Panthers design is 11 inches wide. After we do that Panthers design, you still have all that space at the top of the paper left. So why not use that space? Do something with it. So in this case, we've got the full-size Panthers design on the bottom, but then we can also put a hat design on the top. That's what the smaller Panthers, where we took out the word baseball, we took out the bats and the stars. It's just the cat and the word Panthers. That is the perfect size for the baseball hat. So now, on one sheet of paper, you've got your full front and your hat, and technically an extra hat print that you could do a whole bunch of different stuff with. So considering that there were 15 kids per team, a 1-color order, 15 sheets of that, would be $371 per sheet. And it's beautiful because that $371 includes the print for the front and the print for the hat. So it's very affordable. Now, just for the sake of showing you, 2-color does escalate the price up to $671 per sheet. Again, if you have a league that's a little more on the professional side, the college teams, the travel teams, they're going to have the money for that sort of thing. If we're talking the local city recreation league, 2 colors is going to be a little bit beyond them. So now here's another great tip for costs. This is something that we hear a couple times per season is somebody will tell us, well, gosh, I've got this recreation league and they've got kids that are tiny and these kids that are real big. What do I do? Because I can't afford to do different sizes. So people get stuck this way. They feel like they have to do a kid size and an adult size. Totally not true. Totally not true. You can actually manage to find a size that will fit on everything. I promise you. You just have to do some measuring with your ruler. Now, here's my input on this. In the picture here, you see we've got an adult 2X, and then we've got a youth small. Now, I had found myself in a very similar situation. It wasn't with baseball. It was actually with karate. My sister's karate class, I found the same situation where I had to make some shirts for the parents and I had to make some shirts for the kids. And I originally was trying to price them out as two different sizes, a youth size and an adult size. And I'm sure if you've ever been in that situation, you know that it gets pricey. And they didn't like that. So what I ended up doing was using 10.5 inches wide as my size. At 10.5 inches wide, it looks totally fine on the adult 2X because it's not that much smaller than a standard adult. And on a youth small, that 10.5 wide is a little bit big, but it's not that bad. It's not terrible. It's not a deal breaker. Does it look large on the youth small? Yeah, it looks a little large. But in the end, it ended up saving them a ton of money, and they totally went for it. So again, it's one of those situations where would it be nice to put some small ones on the youth shirts and some big ones in adult shirts? Sure, it would be nice to do that. But it's cost prohibitive, and it looks just as nice, as you can see from the picture here, to put the same size on both t-shirts. Okay, so sometimes you will get a league or an individual team in this case that they have a home style jersey and they have an away style jersey. Okay, in this case, we're talking the polyester performance wear. The Mentor Stallions have their black home jersey, but then they have their, looks like be like a Vegas gold type color away jersey. So in this case, we use the same design for the home and the away. This is where teams can get themselves caught because a team will have a home and away and they'll do the artwork different enough that we don't have this option. But what we've done is called a color change. All we did was take all of the Vegas gold ink from the home jersey, the black one there. We took all the Vegas gold and changed it to black. All of the Vegas gold, so that's the stitches on the ball, the fill of the stallions, the shadow of the stallions, the fill of the tail, all of it changed from Vegas gold to black. Because we changed all of the gold to black, that allowed us to actually do a color change instead of doing two separate orders. So we were able to save this team a whole bunch of money because it was just one order of 30 sheets instead of an order of 15 plus an order of 15. So when you're doing home and away, make sure that it's something that's contiguous like that all of one color changes to another color. Now, this would not have worked if the team had said, hey, we want the stitches of ball to be Vegas gold on both versions. Well, that doesn't work now because I have to change all the Vegas gold to black. Again, this is a great thing to ask our customer service reps about. If you do have a situation where you've got a home and away, and this is, frankly, this is a good piece of advice despite the sport. This can go for any sport, not just baseball. But if you do have that situation where you got a home and away, ask a customer service rep to explain the color changes to you. We can run through some other examples for you as well. So I know this text on this slide is a little bit on the small side, but I wanted to reference this for you because this is one of those questions that we get. Is there a standard size for your numbers on a baseball jersey? Well, there is. So when we're talking about baseball jerseys, it's divided between youths and adults. If it's a youth size jersey, then the name should be 2 inches tall. If they do front numbers, now again, some leagues don't do front numbers, they just do backs. If they do front numbers, then a youth front number is 3 inches, and then a back number is 6. For an adult size, you can add an inch or two to all those numbers. So for an adult name, it's 3 inches. For an adult front is 4, and for an adult back is 8. Now, if you're familiar with our products, then you might be saying, hey, Andy, wait a minute. You guys don't sell packs of 3-inch numbers. And you know, you're right, we don't sell them in packs. But here's the good news. Our player name product called Express Names, you can order an Express name in 3 inches. And who said you have to do a name? You could order an Express name in 3 inches and just do a number 1, a space, a number 2, a space, a number 3, and just fill up that strip with numbers instead of names. So you can easily do 3-inch style numbers here with us. And again, if you want some clarification on that, give us a call, drop us an email. We can explain a little bit more detail how to do that. All right, so just for the sake of example, here are some prices, some sample pricing on 6-inch numbers. Now, you can buy them in a pack of 5. This means that a pack of 4s has 5 number 4s in it. A pack of 2s would have 5 number 2s. A pack of 3s would have 5 number 3s, and so forth. So when you order them by the pack, There are 5 in a pack, and it works out to be 29 cents per digit for a pack of 5. Now, that's only good if you're going to do one team worth of numbers. Or if you've got the fill-ins, of course, the weird odd digits here and there. Now, the second option is the express pack. This is great when you've got one team who's doing their numbers in sequential order. For example, if you have one team who's doing 1 to 15, that's where these express packs are great. There's 60 digits total, 15 of the number 1 and 5 of everything else. And the way the pricing ends up working out is 26 cents per digit. And then our last pricing option, if you have an entire league and you need the same color numbers to do the entire league, it does work out this way sometimes. I have seen some leagues that will purposely use color shirts where they can put white numbers on the back of every single shirt, and then they can just buy a whole bunch of white numbers. Either way, our number kit has 315 digits. Now, they all have to be the same size, 6-inch in this example, and they all have to be the same color, royal blue in this example. But they end up being 25 cents per digit for those 315 digits. So great price for those. And again, these are 6-inch sizes. So just FYI, the 8-inch and the 10-inch are going to be a little bit larger than this. Now, if you are bidding a league, and this is your first time bidding a league, obviously one of the problems you have is you have no clue what digits every single kid on that league is going to be if you're just doing the bid. So the way to handle it is just assume that every single uniform on the league is going to be double digit. All right. First of all, you got a pretty good shot of that happening anyway, especially if they don't do sequential numbers. But second of all, it's not that big of a price difference in the end. We're only talking about, again, between 30 and 25 cents if it's a 6-inch number difference. So quoting and bidding each one as a double digit, that's the safest way to save yourself the money. Good news, we have a number calculator for you at transferexpress.com. If you don't know how to figure the math out, and trust me, you are not the only one. If you're not sure how to figure the math out on what digits you need, how many packs, that kind of thing, our number calculator will do all the work for you. At transferexpress.com, you're just going to go to the names and numbers section of the website. You'll see it on the red toolbar across the top of the screen. And as soon as you go to that section, you will see an option for number calculator. In this example here, what I've done is I've said that I need 10 teams that are going from 1 to 15. And all 10 teams are going to be champs 6-inch black. And if I hit calculate here, it would actually show me the number of packs that I need. Or it would tell me to get a number kit, or it would tell me to get a couple express packs. So the number calculator will do all the hard work for you. You just got to type in what you need. So making money for add-ons here. Now, this is all, again, this is going to depend on the way that the league you're working with is set up. All right. A great option is to do add-ons names, player names. Okay. Player names will cost you $1.75 ordering our express names. All right. The average resale price for a name, $5. All right. Now, a league is not necessarily going to do this, but parents will love that. All right. So it's great to offer names where you can, because it's a great way to do a really nice add-on to that. You can't sneeze at that. Selling them for $4 or $5 a pop when they're costing you $1.75. That is a fantastic add-on sale. The best add-on sale, though, is definitely going to be the Spiritware. This is pretty much universal, no matter if you're doing a recreation league for the local city, or if you're doing bar leagues, or if you're doing college leagues, or anything like that. The Spiritware is always going to be the fantastic add-on for you. What's great about this, the example that I'm showing you, this Tigers design with Mom on it, that Tigers design is actually the front of the baseball jerseys for the Tigers baseball team. We just took some extras of the Tigers, we put it on the Mom tank top, and then we got one of our express names for $1.75 and did the name Mom. So this took 2 applications. You had to apply the Tigers front, then peel, then you had to apply the Mom and then peel. But it's great because all we did was use the extra transfers from the jersey fronts themselves and apply them to the parent shirts and just stick Mom on it, stick Dad on it. So you can do a lot of great things for spiritware. It's so easy, and it's cool because it's all cash in your pocket at this point, especially if you're using the extras that you make. I've talked about gang sheets a couple times already, and you can really make bank with gang sheets because you take those extra designs on the sheet. A couple slides ago, I showed you an example where I had Panthers, a full size, and 2 hats on the same sheet of paper. Well, one of those hat sizes was for the hat for the player, but the other hat size, heck, you could put that on a can cooler. You could put that on a short sleeve of a parent's shirt. You could do a lot of different things with that. So Spiritware is great because you can use the extra pieces that you have. You can slap some parent names, some moms and dads on there, t-shirts, jackets, chairs. Actually, through the Transfer Express apparel line, you can get those really nice bleacher chairs. Those little fold up and carry bleacher chairs are really, really slick, actually. You can easily decorate those too. So lots of fun Spiritware add-ons, though. Another fantastic add-on is window decals. This is cool because you've already got the design. You've already printed the front of the shirts with us. So all we need to do is take the same art that you did for the fronts of your jerseys and then print stickers out of it. You can do 15 of these for a 4-inch circle, and they're only $1.92 a piece. You can easily sell them for $4 or $5. Great profit on that. Great turnaround. And it's fantastic because you don't have to do any special artwork. We've already got your artwork on file. And in this case, all we did was take the bulldog, the team mascot bulldog. We stuck it inside of a circle. Easy. Easy stuff. Bat bags. Bat bags are a great add-on because the cost of a bat bag wholesale is very cost effective, and people do expect to pay good money for those things. So here's the catch to these bat bags. You just make sure to take one of the extra logos that you printed. So again, in this case, we had the Stallions. We made sure to have an extra Stallion clip art on every single piece of paper we ordered. We cut the Stallion clip art out and put it on the bat bag. You could do the same thing with the Panthers example I gave you earlier. The Panthers, we had the 2 hat sizes on the top of every sheet. One of those hat sizes could be put onto a bat bag. So again, you have the option to use these extra transfers in 10 million different ways to make yourself extra money. And bat bags are just a fantastic add-on. It's a great way to make any team look a little bit more professional or feel more professional, feel more serious. Team banners are another fantastic idea as well. This is going to be more effective when you have a single team that you're dealing with in terms of maybe a high school team, maybe a travel team, or also I've seen these done up before the bar teams and the adult teams and that kind of thing. So banners are great for that. When you have an individual team like that, somebody wants to display it. Or it can also be a fun thing to make for the sponsor themselves as well. So there's a couple different things you can do here. If you're dealing with a high school team, though, obviously they need to have something to hang back at the high school in the stadium, and that's where these banners will come into play. So banners are a fantastic add-on. And we've got some very economical prices on banners as well. We've got a couple different types of material, and we can help you out for banners that will look good, semi-permanent in terms of the weatherproofing and last you. So banners are another great add-on. So why do a league? Why should you do a league? Obviously, there's money involved. We know that. It's good to do a league because of all the profit you're going to make off of it. But there's reasons beyond that why you should try bidding for a league and why you should do one. Okay? One of our favorite strategies is when you deliver the league's uniforms, you bag each player's jersey separate. In my picture here, I've got the players' pants, I've got their jersey, and instead of hats, they did visors. So we've got their hat, their jersey, their visor. It's all bagged up, and notice we slapped a company name on that bag, Pro Sport Performance. It's instant advertising for you. Another great idea is to slip your company's flyer into each pack or bag. That's great too. These parents, the same parents who are putting their kids through these teams, these parents are the ones who have businesses in the community, who need shirts for family reunions, who need shirts for their high school reunions, who need shirts for just about anything, companies, fundraisers, walks. So when you bag each player's uniform separate, slap your sticker on the front, and put one of your flyers in it, it's instant advertising. All right. And it puts you front and center in the community too. Anybody will tell you who has a successful business in this industry that the way the community perceives you is incredibly important. So by putting your name on these bags, by putting your advertising in these bags, you are putting yourself front and center in the community, which is a big deal. Big deal. All right. The other option here too, or you could do this in conjunction with the bags actually, is schedule a pickup at your store. Schedule a time for the parents to come in and pick their stuff up and be ready. Have the flyers, have your store looking good, have samples out. All right. First of all, this gives you more time to put everything together. But second of all, it gives you a great chance to display all those add-ons, because as soon as those parents come into your store to pick up those uniforms, that have your sticker on the bag and all that stuff, you can have displays of all of their spirit gear. All the spirit stuff. So if you're doing jerseys, if you're doing the jerseys and uniforms for a local city league, for the Mentor League, it would be easy for you to have all of the Mentor spirit wear displayed when the parents come in. All right. The whole point here is by bringing them into your shop, you're generating more sales. The catch is to just be ready for them when they do come in. Have everything ready to go. Have everything that you have displayed available. Woo doggy. So that was 40 straight minutes of some good baseball information here, guys. I know we went through a little quick, and I tried to cover a little bit of everything, like I said. There's tons of leagues out there, folks. It would be impossible to sit here and give you instructions on how to approach every single league in existence. But for the most part, we've covered a little bit of all the different things that you're going to see. Here's the good news. If you encounter something that we didn't talk about here, if you come across something that you're not clear on what to do, you have questions, you want clarification, please get a hold of us. You can always email us, info@transferexpress.com, or give us a call. Our customer service reps are trained to help you with these situations. The answer is never going to be, we don't know, we can't help you. If at worst, the answer is going to be, let me put you on hold and we will find out for you. Where would I find the clear bags to package my products? You know what, Sarah? That's a fantastic question. There are a ton of different places to get bags out there. Honestly, my best advice to you would be to do a Google search, because it's going to come down to different suppliers and stuff. I know there's places out there on the internet where you can actually, oh, there you go. Thank you, Sean. Uline.com. Actually, that's a good supplier for that. Yes. You're going to find some suppliers, Sarah, that make just the plastic bags. You'll find some suppliers, actually. I've seen one team who was able to get the polypropylene bags for as good a price as the clear plastic ones, too. That's a snazzy idea as well. Getting a polypropylene bag for just a little bit more, sticking a sticker on that thing. You get the idea, though. There's a bunch of different places. Oh, thank you, Christy. Clearbags.com. Who knew? Well, see, I learned something new today, too. All right. Anyway, if you do have any other questions, feel free to get a hold of us. If you're ever curious about all this information, if you've watched my webinars before, all these webinars that we do, they're also blog topics at the transferexpress.com blog. So do check our blog out. Our marketing people do a great job of putting those blogs together a couple times a week. So, all right, everybody. With that being said, I would invite you to join me next month, March 10th. We are going to talk about you want it where? Heat transfer placement and location. I joke around all the time that our industry has changed so much from when I started 15 years ago that it used to be just the fronts of shirts. Today, you find stuff on the hips and the backs and the sides and the insides and all sorts of places. So anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed yourselves. I hope you got some great information. And I encourage you to contact us if you have any other questions. This is why we're here, folks. The whole point of Transfer Express is to help make you successful. Come let us know what you want to know. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me.